So, look, eating on the run. There are so many great choices that, having an excuse, well, like, I'm so busy or I have to eat out, so I can't, meet my health and fitness goals is really just a cop-out because, well, really, it does depend where you live. But if you live in a highly industrial area, like, in a city or whatever, and you have lots of things, nowadays, even if you live in a small area, you still have we have an abundance of options. So it's really about, it's not like I have to eat healthy. It's about, I choose to. What am I choosing? And we have choices. Everything that we do is a choice. And you may argue and say, no. Like, if you are being forced to do something, even in the most gravest of circumstances, someone tells you need to kill someone else or you're going to be killed. You have a choice. You have a choice to kill or be killed. There's a choice. When you realize you have choice, you realize you have power. When you realize you have power, that changes so much. So you get to choose the path of your soul. Now that would be a crazy situation to be in. I never want to be in that situation, and that is a freaking true test of character, right? And then even then, in the internal world, it's like, what are your belief systems? Like, there's a whole slew of things that go on to be like, okay, well, what would be the right choice? Well, and when we snap out of this human condition and realize, like, the ideas and stories and perceptions of what's right and wrong are really just a construction. And then you're like, but yeah, we need to hone in on to, like, how to ground ourselves and operate ourselves into an experience, or else we just kind of go all over the place. It's hard to actually have any type of lesson, wisdom, if we don't start, grounding and having stories to live by. So there's a benefit to it, but then the beautiful thing about conscious choice is that when we realize that we can be conscious of what we're grounding in our reality, and we awaken our power of creation, like, that's something that is like, but it can be like so scary and mind-boggling that for a while we can just be floaty and ungrounded for a while, and it can be a scary place to be in. I've been in that place. And then if you can work with that and understand what is going on, wow, I totally took this to a whole different story. And we can start to enjoy and love the reality that we're in. Instead of trying to leave the reality, we come more back into the reality, and then we start crafting our reality, working with the materials that we have, creating, like, putting energetic, what do I want to say? Putting energetic attention into crafting what we want to bring into the material realm. So we work with the material that is already substantiated from our unconscious, our subconscious, our conscious, that we're like, first we're like, oh gosh, like, I am just, bloop, plopped into this place and I have no power or control. And then you feel like all these external things have the power and control, and you are just like a victim to circumstance. And then you realize, oh shit, I have more. Once you start unwinding those things and realize, like, I have more power than I realize, you start to realize, okay, well, what is not in my control? Like, how do I release those things that are not in control and recognize the things that are in my control? How to work with the spiritual realm, the things that are unseen, the energy that is unseen but is felt, that cannot be, logically explained. They can only be felt and experienced. Once you start working into that realm and then understanding that is the energy that you actually start forming your material reality from, and you start working with your resources around you, you stop resisting, you start enjoying, you start seeing the challenges as joyful experiences. And sometimes, like, you get to a point of where you laugh at your forgetfulness when you get into the heat of the moment and realize, oh my gosh, how silly was that? How silly did I allow my distortions to start creating a reality that, was something different? So how can I ground myself back into a place of where I am open to explore my subconscious, to see that my conscious reality is a reflection of what is underlying? How do I not blame myself and shame myself, but see it as play? So here is an exercise that I want you to do today. I want you to realize the abundance that's all around you. We have an abundance of choice in every moment. So, for example, the alarm goes off and now you have a choice. I can choose to wake up, or I can choose to go back to sleep. I can choose to reset the alarm. Those are different choices. Now, each of those choices are going to lead you to a new, like a different, like, outcome, right? So that's your first choice in the morning. Then it's like, okay, I have choices of what to wear today. I can choose to be comfortable. I can choose to look nice. I can choose to, dress warm, hot, how I choose, the way that I choose to dress is then going to lead you to a different pathway. Is the way that I'm dressing going to support what I want to accomplish today? Those are choices. I can choose to wear something clean. I can choose to just stay in the same clothes. And whatever your choices are, just notice how you feel. How does that make you feel, right? Does it motivate you to move forward? Does it motivate you to, just continue to stay comfy? What are your needs, right? So if we can start making conscious choices to what it is that we want to lead our day within, those are choices. And then it's like, okay, well, I can choose to brush my teeth, or I can choose to, not find that important. And then if I don't brush my teeth, what pathway is that going to lead, right? If I choose to, take care of my teeth, what pathway is that going to lead? What insecurities is that going to start forming? Oh, now my teeth, I have, my teeth are discolored, and I have cavities, and now, because I've been choosing not to brush my teeth, I've been choosing not to make that important. And sometimes if you do brush your teeth, of course, you're still going to end up with cavities or whatever, but what is the most likely outcome, right? By forming said choice. Then it's like, okay, well, I can choose to, what am I going to eat for breakfast? I get a choice. I can choose to skip breakfast. I can choose to eat breakfast. Now that's a fork in the road. Okay, I'm choosing to eat breakfast. Okay, now we have other choices. I can choose what it is for breakfast that I'm going to eat. Okay, let me see what's here. I can choose something that is quick, and I know that isn't really that healthy, but I'm hungry and I just want to get it in quick. And it's processed, highly sugar. So that choice, what's that choice going to lead me? That choices might lead me to, I filled myself up, but it's actually for a short term, because the quality of the food was like really just like a high sugar intake to then caused me a low sugar crash, and then I feel more depleted throughout the day. So that's led me to a certain experience. Or did I choose something with protein and fiber, which actually helps keep my blood sugar elevated, so I am so my energy is actually stable for a longer period of time, and the things in my body feel more even, more key. I'm not going up and down. I'm not having that crash. And then when it comes time, that I'm hungry again, the crash, if I've chosen the breakfast that makes me crash, I might then be more inclined to choose something very similar that caused me that high and low, because now I'm riding a roller coaster. So I'm really low, and now I'm like just kind of grasping for something to feel better. So I'm going to then do the quickest thing, not thinking about how it's going to affect my energy levels. And I just want, right here, right now, I just need to get clear of this uncomfortable feeling that I'm currently in. So I take something quickly. Or if I've chosen to eat the healthy, the level start of my day, I might, now lunchtime comes around, my brain isn't just like, my nervous system isn't like in a crash, so I'm better able to make a better choice during lunch. And I'm like, okay, I'm not grasping, so now I have more calmness and clarity in my head to be like, yeah, for lunch I am going to have the yummy salad with a protein source, and I'm not going to choose the creamy dressing, because I know it just kind of doesn't make my belly feel that great, even though it's tasty. But I do know that when I eat this vinaigrette, it's actually quite tasty, and it doesn't make my stomach gurgle. So I'm now making a conscious choice to make those things. Or, even though you had a healthy breakfast, maybe this time for whatever reason, you've been tempted to have like something that's not so good, and then you can choose that. But like, there's choices all around. You're driving to work, you're commuting, and somebody cuts you off. Okay, I feel the initial like fear, survival, like adrenaline rush, but I'm now conscious. I have a choice. I can yell, scream, and get mad at that person, or I have a choice to be like, that was a shit move, but I'm not going to let that continuously affect me going into the day. So then you have the choice. Am I going to carry this one little thing that was really had to do with that other person? Yeah, I was scared in the moment, but can I drop that and then go on with my life? Or am I going to choose to carry that with me? So these are just start noticing all the very many different choices that you have. And then you start to realize like how abundant life really is, like how much power you have in every moment, like of choice, and where that choice can direct you in life. So another choice is you can choose to continue just doing what you're doing, and saying the things that you want to do, but never actually accomplishing it. Or you can choose to actually hire me as your coach, in which case we actually do one-on-one sessions weekly, which is so important because so many people, we're so inundated with all these courses. Just buy a course, but these courses are all self-led. And from my awareness is that healing doesn't really happen in isolation. We need others to be able to hold space, mirror back, and reflect things for us. And we need a person that is safe and that is non-judgmental, that can just be there to help you be able to understand yourself better. And we need someone to reflect ourselves. So like the power is yours. You do the work. You end up with the realizations. I support you and allow for that container to allow you to explore the relationship that you have with yourself and your body. And we do this through using the bridge of health and fitness. But often that gives us information and data about other things and other patterns that are showing up in our life. And to feel safe about actually looking at ourselves and to find more love for all of the parts of ourselves. And so I help guide women 35 plus and up. So you have a choice. Reach out and we can have a discussion. We can have a quick chat. There's no stress, no obligation. We can just have a chat to see if there is a relationship that we can build together. See if this is a journey that would fit both of us. And there's no risk in that. And then we have that discussion and see if we want to go further. But you never know if you don't reach out. You never know what you're capable of if you don't try. And you'll never get the chance to actually explore yourself if you don't actually start exploring. So let's explore this together. I'd be happy to walk you through that journey. So reach out on my socials or my YouTube or my email, Mandy Squires at hotmail.ca. But it's probably best to reach me through my YouTube link to email me, or through my socials, Facebook, Mandy Squires, Instagram, Mandy IFBB Pro. So looking forward to getting to know you and seeing you get to know yourself.